He apologized to Ruchel. The girl accepted the apologies, saying it was fine, but she would like to train. He remembered at the time how she was after having transformed. She also thought it could go wrong, but she thought he would figure it out. He quickly summoned his snake, knowing that would be the only way to restrict her in case the transformation came. Even so, he had some resistance, but the girl was firm in her conviction. She wanted to be able to control her own power and thus be able to help everyone. Decided to accept her request, he went to the easel, where there were some wooden swords to choose from. After choosing one, he threw it in the girl's direction. She grabbed the sword with a curious look. Unlike the battle between Dako and Slight, our protagonist wanted him and the girl to determine their own rhythms. He didn't want the two to be the same as the other duo, and the pink-haired young woman understood his reason. And when the two were already with their wooden swords, our protagonist asked if they could start. While the young woman said she was going to do her best, something came to the protagonist's mind. He thought that this was what he had always dreamed of for his life at the university, the peace of youth he had imagined. It wouldn't be a chaotic fight of strong blows without a goal. They were young men and women encouraging each other. Just thinking about that, our protagonist smiled with a slightly flushed face, realizing how lucky he was. The young woman, seeing that the boy was thinking, asked if they should start. As soon as the two decided to start, the cute pink-haired girl released all her powers, showing claws. 5 minutes after the beast showed her demonic side, the room was all dusty. Like a very scared protagonist, who quickly called for his snake, Ava asked her to turn into a chain and hold her, the girl. The chains again wrapped around the young woman's body, draining her energy and leading to the exhaustion of her power. Shortly after, her power was dispersed, and she regained her consciousness. You could see how relieved he was. He now seemed to be falling apart. She ran to him, worried, asking how many times that had happened. He said he had gone through that more than 10 times. The young woman was sad, regretting having left him so devastated in the way he was. But he didn't want her to feel bad about it. He gave her a light head pat. He showed her a bright smile and reminded her that he had promised he would help. Still with his hand on the young woman's head, he stated that he was already prepared for that, and at that moment, the duo was scared when someone approached. From the white-haired young woman's face, you could see how annoyed she was with the protagonist. You could see her look of contempt as she held Slight by the legs, angry, because while she was training hard, the protagonist was talking softly to the beast. He was surprised by her comment. Ruchel tried to defend the protagonist, and hearing that, Doko bent down and asked if she had obscure intentions. Then, she said that training with scattered thoughts was rude to her opponent. While the young woman, still sitting on the floor with her head down, feeling guilty, Dako took advantage to make her feel worse. After all that, our protagonist turned and saw that the young woman was depressed. Looking at the young woman so sad, he noticed that she was very soft when it came to Dako. He knew that Ruchel hadn't had enough time to take care of her mental health. Even so, she was trying to do her best. With that in mind, he stated to everyone that it was all fine. Dako was curious about what he was trying to say. Answering her, he revealed that he had recently made a request to the professor so that when he left the floating island, he could take a rabbit, and the professor accepted. Dako, thinking that he would choose her, thought his request was great, but his words broke her expectations, telling the pink-haired young woman that from that moment on, he would take her with him. Not only the white-haired young woman was scared, but the blue-eyed blondie didn't like it either. Ruchel could hardly believe that he had chosen her. The next day, our protagonist went to a women's clothing store. He was sitting on a bench while explaining some things to people on the communicator. He had already said that he wasn't going to spend the night out, that he would definitely be back before dawn. Dako was furious. While talking to that duo, his eyes widened as he looked to the side. The pink-haired young woman appeared after changing into the clothes Ban had chosen, a white shirt along with a pink skirt. This gave the young woman a cute look, matching her hair. She then looked at the protagonist and asked him how she looked, because she thought she was showing too much of her appearance. He quickly put his hand to his mouth to cover his smile of joy at seeing her. After that, the two left the store and walked through the streets. She was amazed by everything she saw. The protagonist crossed the street, calling her to walk a little more, because there was more of a department store district. While she tried to follow the protagonist, she got lost in the middle of a crowd. When she managed to notice, several people had already appeared. She tried to hurry, because at that rate, she would end up losing him. When she thought she was lost, someone approached and held her arm. It was Ban, who pulled her out of the middle of the crowd. He apologized and said he had forgotten that it was her first time in a place like that. Ruchel blushed when she heard Ban holding her hand. He knew there were many crowds in the department store district. Quickly, he turned and hid, since his face was flushed. Therefore, he also didn't see that her face was flushed. The two walked in silence. At a certain part of the walk, they ate various street foods like meats and crepes. They also went to a candy store where there were stuffed dolls. She won a penguin from Ban. Sometime later, they ran free, scaring a group of white doves that flew, making the scene more beautiful. Ruchel was having so much fun that she was even blushing. The two were having a lot of fun. And lunchtime came. The duo sat down at a restaurant to eat, where he asked the young woman if she was enjoying the dishes, since they were all made of monster meat. But for her, it was all good. She thought it was absolutely delicious. And for him, who was eating that kind of thing for the first time, he could see that it was better than he had imagined. Ruchel was amazed. She couldn't believe she was eating meat and walking around the city. While eating, her thoughts varied and her expression quickly changed. He, who was eating a piece of meat in front of him, noticed the change in the young woman's face. Seeing that she looked worried, he asked if there was something wrong with her, if she hadn't liked the food. But the reason was different. She felt excessively excited after so many walks in such good places. He was surprised to find out why she was so sad. She was wondering if what she was doing was fair, as she didn't even know if it would help her abilities. Our protagonist pressed his lips together, irritated and quite annoyed. The next moment, he thought it was important to show her the concept of worry, and he asked her to look at his hands for a moment, telling her that the worry she was feeling was taking shape. He said that until recently, his ability could feel the fury in her, but now, he said it was different. Just by spending some time together, he could capture those emotions. Ruchel agreed with the protagonist's words, thinking about the problems they had at that moment. He thought that, finally, she could see the symbol above his hand. At that moment, the protagonist closed the hand that held the worry, along with the other hand. Dispelling the concept of worry with a big smile, he showed her his empty hands, stating that the worries had gone away. The young woman was amazed by the glow dispersing, like tiny stars before her eyes. She wasn't just excited about the glow, but also about the words she heard when Ban promised to always solve her problems. She, hearing his request, agreed, because she found everything he said fascinating. It seemed like magic, as if it were becoming reality. Our protagonist's head went back to remembering their last battle, when she attacked him so aggressively. The young woman then changed the subject, speaking more shyly. She said she wanted to meet the best. Our protagonist was curious to know who Ruchel was talking about. Of course she was talking about Doko Yan. Ruchel smoothed her hands in a calming gesture. She said that Doko could be scary, but it seemed like she liked Ban a lot, and he quickly disagreed with that. It was more like she treated him as if he were her possession, like a sword. Ruchel started laughing when she heard the protagonist's comment. She found the fact that he was comparing himself to a weapon hilarious. He didn't understand why she was laughing, since he thought the analogy was strange. However, she said she felt relieved. Surprising our protagonist, she gave him a beautiful, bright smile, while saying that she thought he was an omniscient wizard or something. Our protagonist didn't understand what she meant, or why she was getting so close while talking. She grabbed our protagonist's hand, calling him to leave, if he had already finished eating. Her smile was now much more beautiful than before, showing that her worry had really gone away. She said that, as a thank you for everything he had done for her that day, she would choose an outfit for him. The young woman walked ahead, all smiles, while he carried the purchases. Back at the academy, Professor Yumina was in a meeting in a dark room. With her, there was also the camera robot that Ban had given her. He seemed to be pressured, but she asked him to hold on a little longer because it would be over soon. Watching the recordings, one of the professors was furious that information about the tower was spreading. They were going to find out who had allowed them to climb the tower. He also didn't like inferior beings for their transgressions. A blue-haired professor asked if there was any way to prevent this information about the tower from spreading. Another professor said that there were no violations in the videos shown. Even so, there were still angry professors. At one point, someone asked everyone to be quiet. This person made a point of talking to Professor Yumina. He said that it was clearly an infraction and wanted to know if she had already thought about how she planned to take responsibility for it. Faced with that professor's arbitrariness, she just stared at him, holding her emotions firm, unlike the robot next to her. Some time ago, Yumina watched the recordings made by the protagonist. She slapped her own face, realizing that they had really gone that far. When Ban had said he wanted to climb the tower and record a video, there was no reason to oppose it. She even thought it wouldn't work, as she already knew that external machines and artifacts didn't work inside the tower. And yet, Ban ignored common sense, bringing results. She ended the footage shown by the little robot. Yumina was sure that Ban still didn't know what was going on. It wasn't the fact that he had brought the recording from the tower, but the fact that Ban had created a tool that worked inside the tower, something very difficult. The complications didn't stop there. He wanted to publish the video on his channel, because he knew that this theme would attract attention. That form of rebellion would make his group gain more favor from the academy students, and she got a little worried about that. The information about the tower, which they had worked hard to obtain, would be carelessly spread. She wanted to know if he wouldn't regret it. However, he stated that hard work was shared. Besides Tick, his filming robot, there was no other way to record videos. So, he would practically monopolize. He planned to edit and remove some subjects like the constellation, but before the video was published, he believed she used to be by his side and thought that his progress would be incredible, but it would have some repercussions.